Hello and welcome to guess just it's just me talk. I don't know. It never ends. This is Andrew doing like a solo cast. Life's been going on recently and things have been a little different for me. I don't really want to elaborate any further onto that as of right now. But I wanted to talk today about playoff picture for MLB. I obviously have been a huge fan. You've heard me talk many times about Brewers baseball and everything like that, and I keep a date almost every team in baseball. Obviously, the Brewers are my favorite, but baseball is just my favorite sport. So I wanted to talk about this postseason picture because I think it's crazy. First off, so just looking at the matchups. Someone's like, I have the kind of the picture here. I'm gonna start with the National League, and I'm gonna start with you got the wild card round between it's Padres at Cubs, and then you got Reds at Dodgers. I don't really want to talk about who I have favorite, but I do want to point out some of the things from some of these matchups that are going to be impactful. I don't like predicting things because, especially with MLB postseason, it's so difficult than most other sports. But I do kind of want to pick like who I think is favored. Obviously, when it comes to LA and the Reds, cannot believe I am not saying the Mets, but it's the Reds. But because that game 162 was crazy, and everything like that. So, I mean, I'd have to believe the Dodgers are favored, but the Reds are on a hot streak, man. Like they put themselves in this position to be here. Anything can happen. I think that personally, the Reds pitching is very slept on. Obviously, Hunter Green is their big ace, but it's the Dodgers, man. It's hard to beat. It's hard to bet against the Dodgers. When you look at that team, you got Ohtani, you got Betts, Freeman. I'm sitting here going just like in that entire pitching staff that's getting healthier. So it's like the Dodgers are our team, and they're going to be one that's I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to 3 games. So obviously, quick reminder to anyone that's not really paying attention to MLB, hasn't really paid attention to MLB baseball in recent years. So the wild card round is a best of 3. You play 3 games. The higher seed gets the home field advantage through all 3 games. So the Reds are going to be out west in LA playing 3 games against Dodgers. Whoever takes 2 out of 3 will move on to face the Phillies. I'm thinking it's probably going to be the Dodgers, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Reds, to be honest with you, because I think the Dodgers have underperformed a lot this season. I think their offense is very streaky. If they're not hitting home runs, they're not really producing runs. That's a tough one. I'm still favoring the Dodgers, but I would not be surprised to see if the Reds pitching staff shows up in a big way. You still have big at bats, big bats of like Ellie De La Cruz. I think Friedel is kind of slept on. Steer, honestly, a lot of the Reds team I think is very slept on. They're very solid players all around. There's only a few I was like kind of in there or whatever, but it's like honestly good for the Reds to be here. I thought it was amazing that they're even here to begin with because I thought at the beginning of this month they had a shot. I didn't think it was going to be a thing. I'll talk about the whole collapse of the Mets and Astros after we're done with this, but holy man, it's crazy. So obviously the winner of that goes to play the Phillies. We'll move on to that once we get there. Next we have the Padres and Cubs. This is an interesting series as well. Padres, I thought, could actually win the West, but they decided to suck ass down the stretch and just let the Dodgers run away with it, unfortunately. But the Cubs are such a weird team the second half because the first half they look like they were going to be one of the best teams in baseball. PCA was having an MVP type caliber year, and then something changed. I don't know if guys just figure out how to pitch to PCA or majority of this Cubs team. It's like Kyle Tucker just had such an abysmal stretch there for a while. The offense just looked like it was night and day. I don't know. I look at the Padres team though, and it's like they got a talent, but they don't hit home runs. And it's like I don't know how they score. Cubs have a pretty good pitching staff. decent. Seiya Suzuki. I think Cade Horton. I heard. I think he shut down for the first series. So this one against the Padres. That's a toughie. I don't know. I think I'm gonna give the edge. I was about to say the Padres, but they're playing in Wrigley. Who do I give the edge to? I think it go either way. I really do. Like Tatis and Machado, I mean, they come up with big hits, and Jackson Merrill's been on a bit of a bender to end the season. Freddie Fermin's been pretty good from behind the bench. Pitching is a little bit of concern for the Padres, but that back into that bullpen with Mason Miller and Robert Suarez, it's better than a lot of teams. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna say. I said I don't really do predictions, but I'm gonna say that it's probably gonna be. I think it's gonna be the Padres. It's gonna be hard for me to say that the Cubs are gonna lose 2 out of 3 against the Padres in Wrigley, especially in this environment. But part of me is saying it. Part of me is thinking that it's gonna happen. Obviously, they're going to face the Brewers. But I'm going to move over to what I think is an absolute banger of the AL wild cards, because you got Tigers going to Cleveland, the Cleveland Guardians, because the Guardians somehow, some way won the AL Central. How? I don't know. The Tigers had a massive collapse. They had a 15.5 game lead. I think it was in June. And even to start the month of September, they had a 10-game lead out there in the Central. How in the world did the Guardians end up winning that division and now have home field advantage against their in-division rival? I think that's going to be a phenomenal series. And it's a toss-up. It's really a toss-up. The Guardians are really hot, and I would not want to be the team that wants to face them right now. But it's going to be the case. I was like, but the Tigers are going to have to do it. They're either going to prove that, okay, the collapse was maybe overdone, but, I was on us that we put ourselves in that position. But the Guardians, man, I mean, this is a team that sold. They talked and like they had all those gambling things with like Luis Ortiz and Manuel Clase. I didn't think that they would even be here. I mean, this should be the Astros, right? Like, it should. It's not. Crazy. I think that's gonna be a hell of a series to watch, and I have no idea who's gonna win in the end because I don't know enough about the Guardians or the Tigers team. I look at that Tigers team, man. I still don't understand how they're good. I really don't. Like, they have some good bats. Obviously, Tarek Skubal. Beyond that, though, like, what do you got? Like, Jacob Job, I guess, but isn't he hurt? I'm sure Casey Maze or whatever his name, Maze, is like is also hurt, I'm pretty sure. So it's like, you're going into the series, you're looking at it and throwing, like, you're going to go, you even go Skubal 1? I think you probably do, just because you want to win the first game. You go Tarek Skubal, Jack Flaherty, and I don't even know who your third pitcher is because I don't pay enough attention to the Tigers. As for the Guardians, I mean, what is it? No, God, I don't even know I don't know. That series is going to be fun to watch, though. That's all I know. You got the historic collapse with the Tigers and the massive bender that the Guardians went on with Jose, and then Jose Ramirez is by far one of my favorite players to watch in baseball today. He is so good. And then, of course, what postseason isn't complete without Boston at Yankees? Because Yankees, despite winning the same amount of games as the Blue Jays, and the Blue Jays having the number 1 overall seed, but they did not have the tiebreaker with the Blue Jays. So the Blue Jays ended up winning the division and getting the number 1 seed in the AL. So Yankees had an easy schedule to end the season on. Not going to hang that too much. I am an overly big critic of the Yankees, despite not being a Yankees fan. Actually, I'm a Yankees hater, I'll be honest. Boston is an interesting case, though, isn't it? I don't think the Yankees have played well against Boston this year. At Yankee Stadium though. Hmm. I think the pitching for the Yankees is going to be a little bit better than the pitching for Boston. Stanton's been on a bender too. Stanton's been on a bender, and obviously Aaron Judge is, Aaron Judge. It, if the Yankees don't implode, which if you remember last season, or whatever, if you remember last season, it could happen. As long as the Yankees don't implode and Judge doesn't turn into playoff Judge and continues to hit like he's been hitting all year, the Yankees should win this. Maybe 2-0, maybe 2-1. I don't know. I'm thinking the Yankees are going to move on and play the Blue Jays. But I would not be surprised to see Boston move on the Yankees do that, because Boston's another one of those teams, man. You look at that. Roman Anthony's a superstar basically for them, and like Trevor Story's been really good. Jarren Duran's been awesome. Daniel Rafaela has been great. It's tough. That's a tough matchup. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. So obviously, I think I did it the first time. It's like, I guess I'll predict anyway because I think it's easier and more fun that way. So probably between Dodgers, Reds. I'm gonna say Dodgers. Probably be Dodgers, Phillies in that NLDS, and then I'm thinking it's probably gonna be the pot. It's either gonna be the pot. I'm gonna say it's the Cubs. I'm thinking it's gonna be Cubs versus Brewers. And that will be an interesting matchup, regardless of who moves on, type thing. I mean, me as the Brewer fan wants to say the Brewers, but they played so bad. They played so bad down the stretch. Kind of feels like they kind of just like, all right, we got, we put ourselves in the position for the best record in baseball, and then just kind of coasted. I'm really hoping that doesn't come back to bite them in the ass. I really hope they can turn it back on again. The pitching for the Brewers has been so good this year. Freddie Peralta, Quinn Priester, even if it's like Jose Quintana, or even, I don't know, even Chad Patrick. It's like, realistically, Freddie's going to start game 1 for the Brewers. Depending on win or loss, will be whether or not Priester goes. If it's a win, probably start Quintana or Patrick, whoever the third starter is going to be. Well, I guess it's the best of 5. So yeah, after the wild card, it's a best of 5. I always forget that because I'm so used to playing the 2 of 3. Jesus Christ, man. That's how defeated I am as a Brewers fan sometimes. Like the past 2 seasons, we won the division, but we weren't good enough to be past the wild card round. So I'm always thinking best 2 out of 3. This is best 3 out of 5 for the NLDS. So yeah, it's definitely gonna be Freddie, Priester, probably Quintana, and Patrick if Woodruff isn't back. If Woodruff's back, then it's Woodruff, Quintana. If the offense can wake up and stop going into so many ground balls, Brewers should win that. Between the Phillies, Dodgers, hard to bet against the Dodgers, man. It really is, because you look at this team and by the numbers, they should be way better than they are. But there's just something about this Phillies team, man. There's something about this Phillies team. They find ways to win. I'm gonna give it to the Phillies. I think the Phillies win. I think the Phillies probably beat the Dodgers, and if they end up facing the Reds, man, it's gonna be hard pressed to not say that the Phillies could win that one. I think that they should. If they end up facing the Reds, I think the Reds are gonna. I bet you they take 1 game. Probably Phillies in 4. There. Looking over the AL side, we got the winner between the Guardians and the Tigers versus Seattle. Seattle is an interesting team. Obviously, Cal Raleigh having an MVP caliber season. I think he should be the MVP over Judge. Whatever. My only thing there is that Cal Raleigh's doing this from the catcher position. And I don't think we'll ever see a catcher ever hit 60 home runs unless Cal Raleigh wants to do another bender again. But I don't know. Anyway, moving on from that though. Seattle should win despite who comes out of that. I think that whether it's the Tigers or the Guardians, I think Seattle is the clear favorite in either of those matchups. As for Blue Jays, either Yankees or Boston, I mean, that's an all AL East matchup. I don't know, man. Something about me just doesn't believe in this Blue Jays team. I don't know. Like if it's Yankees versus Blue Jays, I'm leaning Yankees. I am. Even if it's Boston, honestly, if it's Boston, I think Boston's gonna win that. Not easily, but like, you know, I don't know. I don't know how much I believe in this Blue Jays team. I hope I'm proven wrong. I really do. I don't want to see Boston or Yankees honestly win it all, but it's like, I just don't know. I believe in this Blue Jays team. They have the bats. They have the pitching. I feel like their bullpen's been not great the second half. Maybe a little bit of rest will help them or hurt them. That's the problem with all these these division league series, whatever. It's like because Mariners, Blue Jays, Phillies, and Brewers won't play until Saturday. It's like they're going to be rusty while these other teams are playing for their lives, so they're on a roll. But I always hate about this playoff picture, but that's why it's always so hard. I'm going to say either Boston or Yankees. I don't know who wins that. I couldn't tell you. That's going to be a good matchup. I think regardless of which team wins that, I think they're going to go on and beat the Blue Jays. I think the Mariners will probably move on. I think Phillies probably move on. Dodgers, I think, will give them a bit more of a test, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the Dodgers move on. As for the Brewers, I really hope that the Brewers move on. It's going to be a tough one. I'm going to say the Brewers just because I'm a Brewers fan. So it's got Phillies-Brewers matchup or Brewers-Dodgers. I want to believe in this team. I really do. For Uke and everything, but like, want to believe in this team, so I'm going to believe in them. I'm going to pick them to go to the World Series. As for Seattle and whoever, shit. I think Seattle has transformed their offense in such a way, adding Bo Naylor and Eugenio Suarez, that I think they're legit threats, and I think their pitching is next level. Luis Castillo and is it like Logan Gilbert and what's his name? That Brian Wu, I think his name is. It's like those are three really tough pitchers to face up against. Part of me wants to say Seattle, so you could have Seattle Brewers World Series. Is that really what I'm going with? Because I feel like that's what a lot of people have picked, man. That's what I feel like a lot of people have picked. I mean, I'm going for it. I'm gonna live the pipe dream that a team that's never made it to the World Series, the Seattle Mariners have never made it to the World Series, is gonna make it there versus a team that's never won the World Series. So either way, a team that won the World Series will never won the World Series before. So if that happens, that'd be a great moment for baseball. I know everyone's gonna, and numbers will probably not be good because you have two smaller market teams in Seattle and Brewers. If that happens. But I think that's more fun than watching, like the Dodgers versus Yankees again, or like Phillies versus Seattle, or Yankees or Boston, Blue Jays even. I always feel so bad dogging on the Blue Jays because they had such a good season, but I look at that team and I sit here going just like, I don't know, man. It's just something tells me I'm not a believer yet, and I'm hoping that if they can get past that, they can get past the ALDS and move on to the LCS, that I'll be a believer. I hope so. I really hope this team can prove it to me, because I look at this team and I sit here going just like, yeah, this is a great team. Then I watch them play and I go, I don't know, man. So, but they're a lot like the Brewers, so I can't discount them. They were obviously the number one seed in the AL. So that's kind of the playoff picture. There are two teams I already named already because I think it's crazy that did not make it. The Astros, for the first time I think since 2016, maybe even sooner than that, did not make the postseason. You want to talk about two teams that had such a falling out. Everyone's going to talk about, the Tigers losing the division somehow and claiming the last wild card is obviously big. But at the same point, I'm sitting here going just like the Astros were in firm place to win the AL West and didn't. Because Mariners went on such a hot streak, pushed them out, and all the Astros had to do was win, and they didn't do so. And now they find themselves on the outside looking in. It's crazy to me. I'm really surprised. This is the first postseason in quite some time that we have not seen the Houston Astros, and some people will rejoice at that. I'm kind of that this season. I was like, I don't always like to see the same teams. I like to see other teams kind of get in. So seeing the Mariners is actually pretty cool. So, better luck next season, Houston. But I mean, Houston had such a weird season because Yordan Alvarez was hurt for a majority of the season. They lost Josh Hader to, I think, the last month, basically. I don't even know if he came back at all. I thought he was to shut down for the regular season. So they got Isaac Paredes back. They traded for Carlos Correa, though, and it just wasn't enough. I don't know. Pitching, I feel like, for them was just horrendous, though. Oh, I don't know. Overall, now we get to talk about the Mets. I think it's hilarious that the Mets did not make the playoffs. Holy shit. The team that probably spent the most money over the offseason signed Juan Soto, got P. Alonso signed back for another year. That team was the best, had the best record in baseball, had the best starting rotation in baseball for the first 2 months of the season or something like that. It was one of them. It was they had the best ERA in baseball and whatever. And they just played so bad. And the Phillies just ran away with the NL East. That they find themselves like this. And the thing is all they had to do yesterday was win. All they had to do yesterday was game 162. It was Sunday. The Brewers beat the Reds to get their 97th win. So theoretically, all the Mets had to do was beat the Marlins. Beat the Marlins. You had to take 2 out of 3 against the Marlins, and you were in. And you didn't do that against the Marlins. Mets fans, go fuck yourself. But at the same point, God, it is hilarious, though, that you did not make it. I think that is hilarious. I think it is funny. Sorry for Mets fans, but also go fuck yourself. Fuck the Mets. That's all I'm going to say, because you were the one that knocked us out the Brewers out last year. But Jesus Christ, you did not deserve it. At least the Dodgers played better down the stretch, whereas the Mets just never figured it out, which is crazy with all the talent they had on that team. Starting pitching just fell apart. Bullpens continue to give up leads and stuff like that. And despite giving up scoring a good amount of, I don't know. It's just you had great years from Juan Soto, another good year from Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor that had a bit of a stretch there, but he still ended with a pretty good season. 30-30 is pretty fucking good. Why in the world is this team not in the playoffs when you have 3 wild card spots? I don't know. But here we are. Crazy. I don't know. You can also, the Diamondbacks were fighting there for a while, but I didn't think they were going to get it. I think that once Burns went down with once Corbin Burns went down with ACL, Tommy John surgery, I think they kind of said, yeah, this isn't our year. So pitching was kind of horrendous for them the first half of the season, and then they picked it up and figured it out in the second half, and it was kind of too late by that point. But they had a chance. They did, but they had a tough end of the season, and they just couldn't get it done. So better luck next year, Diamondbacks. I think that they still have a great team. That Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, and just a bunch of other guys that I can't think of at the moment. Gordalo Perdomo, and what's the catcher's name? Golly, Gabby Marino. Sounds right. All great players, and if they can get their pitching figured out for next season, obviously I think Burns is probably not going to be ready for the start of the season, but should be back early. So I know they did sell quite a bit though, but I mean, Eugenio Suarez was a free agent at the end of the year anyway, but they sold Josh Naylor. Yeah, well, bit of a rebuild year for them. But yeah, I could talk about all the teams, but I was like, I think that those were the ones that kind of came to my mind. No one was really close. I guess another big inclusion was probably that wasn't here is probably the Royals. Royals obviously have Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez. I mean, Vinny Pasquantino had himself a season too, along with Markel Garcia. Once again, I just think pitching was just kind of their kryptonite. They traded for Mike Yastrzemski, which is nothing to balk at. So, I don't know. Rather than ramble on too long, I think I'm just going to end it there, though. Watch MLB Postseason. It's all on, I think it's between ESPN and ABC for the first round for the wild card round. I think they start not today. I'm going to be releasing this on the day I'm recording it, which I don't do very often. But since it's just me, it should be an easy edit. Yeah, so it's like game 1 is on Tuesday, and then obviously Wednesday, Thursday, or Thursday if they need to, for the game 3. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Boston Yankees is going to be fun to watch. Guardians and Tigers is going to be fun to watch. It's going to be interesting to watch Dodgers, Reds, although that is on the West Coast, so I'm probably not going to be able to watch it. But it'll be interesting to see the results and what happens over there. Cubs, Padres, I think is probably going to be one of the more evenly matched matchups around, basically. So that will be an interesting one. See if the Padres pitching can hold off the Cubs' struggling offense in the second half. I think Kyle Tucker is supposed to be back for the postseason too. So we will see how that works out there. But anyway, thank y'all so much for listening to me talk about, baseball. I wanted to kind of get this out here or whatever because we haven't put about a podcast. Again, I don't really want to elaborate, but life kind of happened for me specifically. And yeah, normal podcast will be back next week, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.